Episode 82 is upon us here in the Challenge Series. As, we don't really have any particular aim. We don't actually know what the championship for 88 is going to be. So, we can't exactly prepare anything by, focusing on a specific car type or anything. Some people are saying 600, but others are saying that there's no way we'd get more than, 20 or 21 people trying that. At most, there wouldn't be any chance of, a qualification thing, like we usually do. I think one or two people have suggested multi-class type racing, but I don't really know how feasible that is either. There'll just be two small championships that I have to keep track of separately, and that's just a cool pain in the butt. I think a few actually have said a dirt championship, which, well, I don't think we'd use a full 20 vehicle grid for those, since we literally can't. The Rallycross circuit doesn't allow for 20, it allows for 16. It's sort of a thing we're just going to figure out when we get there. We may very well just do another championship in one of the categories you've already done, because it's not really any secret. 675 and 715 are definitely the bigger categories, the more attractive ones that more people are drawn to. Honestly, at this point, I'm surprised we don't do more than one of those a week, just to accommodate for the number of people that try to run them every week. And for every 20 car grid you see in 675, there's usually another 10, 12 that just kind of sit in the event center, wishing they had gotten to the track sooner. It's an awkward mess. And the first race of the week is green. We head to the Lago Maggiore circuit. Start things off with one of the races in the aforementioned 675 category. And there are our focus driver of this race. As we come to a dead stop nearly at turn 2. It's Dominic DeFrisco, one of multiple hometown drivers here. I think there's 3 or 4 of them actually. We've seen Francesca Peranzi stuck on the outside of the truck, so that's another one. It's a bit of an odd development, just got a glance at it there. As somebody is a little ways off the track, I think that was Uni that found some dirt. Where the heck is that Subaru? There it is. Heading towards the hairpin here, and just kind of doesn't turn enough. Manages to actually kind of turn it into an overtake though. Four-wheel drive traction helped propel her towards the turn with no real traction loss, and she actually defended from Oxbridge because of it. DeFrisco sweep from the outside of Blonde. A little bit extra racetrack used, but yeah, this race is sort of weird exception. Francisco Ferranzi is running what was originally a Group 4 car, the Alpha 155 DTM machine that he drives a lot as he gets kind of rear-ended by Aspinall there, but no damage to either car. Apparently, from what I understand, is he put an aftermarket turbocharger in this thing, much like we do with the Group 3s. He changed the diff settings around, and I think he added a small amount of ballast to it. And he has it right at the 675 specifications. So I guess Thrasher and Kawashiro kind of passed on it. They were here, I wasn't. My GTO was not really in competing shape at the moment. I hadn't changed the oil in about a couple hundred extra miles. I was, I think it was like 160 late on that, so that was dumb on my part. The second I realized that, I was like, well, I can't race today. Luckily, it doesn't seem like we had many problems getting people to show up. This is obviously a full 20 car grid. And you're getting a bit of a tight squeeze from Oxbridge heading through the first sector of the circuit. He tries to cross the Corvette over. Is going to be weaker in the horsepower department than that Corvette as well, so not going to get it done there. Italy is all out of whack up ahead of Dominic, and he reacts in time. It's not getting Francisco too far, as that 155 is kind of falling down the order anyway. I believe he started in about 4th or 5th, and he's in danger of falling outside of the top 10 if things continue as they are. Dominic gives him a door. Not really sure if that was just understeer. Could have been at that speed. And Dominic's Countach was pretty understeer from what I understand, as, oh dear lord, Stephanie is getting taken for a ride. Where is the Porsche? Too wide with Watanabe over the crest. And just a terrible landing, and Watanabe had nowhere to go on that. As we kind of see what she sees here, just... You can't... I mean, you could kind of react, but you couldn't do much there. And Kaiser just does a neat little 720 and carries on, but that Porsche is pretty badly damaged. It's not going to be going too far too fast. DeFrisco embarrassing Noir on the exit of the banked corner. Nepgear was the leader at the start of this lap. I'm not really sure what went wrong there for her. This is both her second race and Watanabe's second race, and while Watanabe has just become a little bit derailed, Nepgear's hanging with these two, sort of. Thrasher is currently trying to find a way around the Hellcat safety car of Samuel Jensen, a driver who's not been making a whole lot of attendance as of late. But he showed up here and he's managed to hold on to the lead for a while. Bit of defensive driving, and that Hellcat's got enough horsepower to keep a lot of cars at bay for a long time, so long as you can keep it between the racing lines, or the white lines as it were. Thrasher doesn't have the power to find a way around the Hellcat. He's having to try and do it in the corners, but that's a difficult task for a muscle car, even if it is trying to pass another muscle car. Aspinall in a third muscle car is at the back of this train, but Dom DeFrisco is catching rapidly. I suppose it probably makes sense we would let this car pass, though, since, well, it's exactly what we do with the Group 3s to run in the 750 category. It's just that we never really had to, because the 675 class never had an attendance problem, so we never really had to introduce that regulation that you could modify a racing car with different parameters to run it in this category. As DeFrisco tries the outside of Aspinall, he does not have the necessary cornering grip to hold on the outside, but he manages to pass anyway. Looking for bonus points on Nepgear. Down the inside, big contact is made, I think. The camera kind of cut away weird. But the Countach moves to third place. Now Nepgear will try and keep that Mustang at bay. Meanwhile, Thrasher has now sat behind this Hellcat for a whole lap and has not been able to do anything about him. In the background, Riel's trying to find an overtake on the fake French girl, Noir. They'll be door to door heading through the slow section with Francisco spectating from behind. He might be doing more than that in a second, as he takes a very wide berth into turn 3. Doesn't quite get the exit he needs, though, to do anything about them. Riel got that move completed. Also in the background, Aspinall got ahead of the Skyline driver of Nepgear. Not a great day for the game industry representatives at all. They've both been passed at the same time. Noir is now under threat from the hometown hero of Francisco Fidanzi. Couldn't get anything done there, and he's going to lose on the straightaways a little bit, even to a car like the NSX. Although having said that, he is actually going to draw up alongside the NSX before the braking point here. Noir aggressive on the brakes to hang on to P7 though, so he will have to wait or he'll run out of time. You're heading into the final sector of the race circuit here. Thrasher is very much running out of time. I've never seen that kind of before. What the heck? Only like one more real good corner to pass here. Can Thrasher find a sneaky escape route? Okay, he could have easily gone down the inside there, but he just didn't have he didn't have the nerve. So better acceleration to the credit of the safety car. Samuel Jansen is going to take a rare victory here in the Challenge Series. That might literally be his first ever victory here. Thrasher P2, Dom DePrisco third after spending a hefty amount of time stuck in traffic. He's not able to make it to the front in time. Noir did hang on to 7th against the 155. A bit of hometown disappointment for Francesca. She ends up in dead last as a result of her driving. Or maybe not even a result of her driving. I don't actually know what happened to her. But to be back here with Watanabe and Kaiser, who got involved in that early crash, something tells me she had to be in a pretty big crash herself. But the replay I didn't catch it in the replay, so who really knows what happened there? Race 2 of this episode is away from Laguna Seca. Also, I should probably point out, in case it hasn't already become apparent, one of these few regulation changes, or just basically the way that the series works, one of the few changes made to that in the off time after episode 80, grid starts are now, I was going to say mandatory, that's not really the word, but they are part of regulation. We don't do rolling starts anymore. It was sort of deemed that a grid, like, the starting grids are randomly decided, so it just seemed slightly more fair for a car, or for the race to be done on a grid start. As kind of scrolling up the running order here at Laguna Seca. And a Subaru front row started on the starting grid as Liza Kaiser attempts to eliminate that statement by overtaking Simon Nash. She doesn't find a way through there though, and actually gets some damage on the vehicle. Trying to probe for weakness and found nothing of use. A lot of classic muscle in show today. We are on board with Otoya Namatame in her Mr. 2. A vehicle like this with its relatively low power output but relatively high cornering speeds. Basically all but built for this circuit. And that much has already proven itself. She's up from last to 9th in just one lap. As Namatame battled with cameras. Sugimoto for a while managed to clear her and then nearly ran straight into the back of Kawashiro. On the inside of the Challenger, there's that improved cornering grip is fully on display just there. wanted to try and sneak on the outside of part of the home crowd here at Laguna Seca. Axel Valentine, born not very far from here, but he was not born yesterday, and he's obviously pretty good at this track, so he knows where to put his car. But he's been held up by McIntosh ahead, and that gives the MR2, well, half a chance. Not enough of one, though. Thrasher is slowly catching the lead too. He ran quite a fast lap on the previous lap around. Another failed overtake from the MR2. Now she's tried the outside of turn 2, which is usually not easy to do. She's throwing everything in the kitchen sink at Axel Valentine to try and make this pass. Finally, just squeezes him out and gets the pass done. But that took nearly the better part of a whole lap's worth of driving just to get that pass done. She'd been working on that since the downhill left after the corkscrew, and she finally gets it done only 3 corners away from the corkscrew. Takes the kink much faster than McIntosh, but that Super B has a lot more horsepower than that Toyota. Thrasher has officially caught Simon Nash. We'll see if he can have a little bit better luck overtaking him than Liza Kaiser did. Namatame too wide with McIntosh, nearly being forced into the sand over there. But the MR2 finds its way through. Bars. Ty wants to go back down the inside, but the Super B just does not have the braking force required to outdo an MR2. A car that's bars again. A car that's so much lighter than that Dodge. And we have the American Muscle Brigade here. Super B followed by Mach 1 followed by Challenger. Thrasher has cleared Simon Nash, probably into turn 1, I would have to assume. I didn't look. What on earth? So it sounds as though I missed something back here. Could Tori have a bit of an airhead moment? Yeah, she did. She defended into turn 3, and Namatame didn't really have any chance to react because you don't really expect a car driver to do that. Now she's missed the following turn. That allows Namatame to get right up alongside, like the one car on the track with less horsepower than that MR2. And Kotori's rear end damage gained from her bizarre defense makes her unable to maintain traction through the kink. Thrasher is right there on the precipice of overtaking Sawaka. Just has to get, set things in motion, as it were. He misses a shift though. That could have been a chance if he didn't do that. Kotori hits for the damage he sustained from Namatame. He isn't the happiest little birdie in that cage right now, but at the same time, why are you defending into that turn? It's not even a heavy braking zone or anything. I just don't fully understand the logic there. Namatame pushing her luck with the braking zone for Andretti hairpin. Thrasher uses that Mustang's power to his advantage, because that's kind of what he had to do. It's very close quarters, but he makes the move stick, and then just behind that, Namatame trying to sneak on the outside of Nash, and will do so. The 3-car battle of the Classic Muscle gets even closer for 5th place. Oh no, oh that's a bad news! It's a DNF for that MR2. Just classic off-throttle oversteer from the MR2. went to begin braking, and it disagreed exponentially. And overcorrected the car, as is very easy to do, not only with the MR2, but just on that kind of uneven terrain. And as we head up to the the final corner of the circuit, well, the effectively king of Laguna Seca, he wins again. Thrasher will grab a victory at Laguna Seca, starting like 6th on the grid. Suwako will grab P2, Nash P3. McIntosh will be the best of those 3 old muscle cars, and the replay ends there. And from what I understand, that was a really bad hit for the MR2, obviously. And it's a bit of a write-off, so that's a totaled Mr. 2 right there. I don't remember why it was considered like a write-off, why it was considered not fixable, but nevertheless, that is curtains for Namatame. Tried to I think push a little too hard to try and catch the lead too, with a handful of turns to go, and the brakes just didn't like that. The third race of the episode is away, and the dirt race is upon us now from Sardinia Windmills, and that's a bit of a cluster of affairs. The pole-sitting vehicle is rear-wheel drive, but all the vehicles around him weren't, so a bit of chaos off the grid. Oh, more chaos. Taro is just struggling to maintain control of that Super Bee. He does prevent an absolute disaster, but not pretty by any means. As Colin Morris is the focus driver, and he's already made pretty short work of most of the category, most of the fields. This time around, we actually did split the starting grid by category. So, Ryu Hoshizora with just all kinds of out of shape back here. We're gonna go basically to the back of the grid, and then some. Morris basically lives, eats, sleeps, and breathes this track. So it's no surprise to me that he's making such quick progress, already up to 2nd ahead of Noir, who herself had a surprisingly good start considering no 4-wheel drive. She may struggle to keep her sister at bay though, who has a full-blown rally car at her disposal, whereas that's just an NSX. Now Colin Morris just lives here. He doesn't really live here, he lives in America, but if you could live somewhere else, something tells me you would be here. And his pace and general confidence at this circuit is proof of that. Watanabe hoping to have a bit of a better run than she did the last time at Colorado Springs, where she was one of the bottom running vehicles. Oh, Noir just massively understeered. She's not going to be able to put up much of a fight against her teammate there. Watanabe did the same thing. A few drivers are doing the same. A lot of drivers are doing the same thing, in fact. Rear-wheel drive just doesn't seem to have the grip to make that turn, apparently. And Noir now under threat from the rally car brigade. 2 Evos and a 22B just stalking her. Oh, and there's a truck as well. And just missed the overtake for the race lead. Heading through the slow section, Riho's taking it relatively conservatively. Colin Morris says nuts to that. He's going to just swing the back end out as much as humanly possible. And the Focus driver is in the lead and is unleashed. At this point now, it's just more of a guessing game to see how much of a lead he'll build up in the next 3 laps. Unless Futaba can somehow find more speed in that truck. Or Uni can find more speed, as she ran a much faster lap than Riho just did. I've been told Uni's got a pretty steady hand, so something tells me off-road driving will probably be among her skill set, and she has a car to back it up, unlike her sister, who... The NSX... Just don't even be fooled. The NSX is not a suitable rally machine, as we're seeing there. And now she's back under threat from all of the four-wheel drive vehicles, and she's not going to be able to keep most of them at bay this time. Harada and Watanabe just cruise on by with their, actual cornering and grip, which Noir has been severely lacking. She's now been overtaken by Rantanen and El Zaman, the latter of which is in a category lower than Noir, and Noir tries to sneak back to the outside of the truck, but that just isn't possible. That truck is probably real good over these bumps and jumps, but I don't really know what else it's able to do. It won't have the cornering grip. I say, like, grip really exists out here on dirt, but what are the cornering speeds of, say, Unis and Preza back here? That said, the power band is also probably more favorable in the truck. So maybe it does just about even out. It's hard to be sure. Watanabe with another clumsy hairpin there. Uni took it fine, and Harada took it kind of weird, but not bad. Alright, we're about to begin the final lap. That is just a massive lead to Colin Morris. We're under 19.8 as he just fucks off into the distance. He has a 6.5 second lead over second place. And the lap times between Futaba and Uni are stabilizing. And actually, Watanabe just turned on the jets on that lap, ran a 20 second flat. El Zaman ran the lap record there with a 19 flat, so Colin is not the fastest car on the track, but he's been the fastest the whole way through. Oh, he barely keeps it off the wall there though. So now it's Uni under huge pressure from multiple cars behind. She needs to make this corner well. She does. Watanabe does not, and is greeted by a Tetsuya Harada on the corner exit, who will sneak his way into fourth. Impressive run from the Tundra driver to manage second. I would probably call that best of the rest, as here comes Colin Morris to take just a crushing victory. If we do have that Dirt Championship, he is going to be a massive danger there. Riho will yeehaw her way to second place, with Uni taking up the final podium spot. Watanabe with an okay performance, but just having too many problems at that slow corner to really achieve the maximum potential of, that car. So ultimately, splitting this into categories with the 675 and 640 groups. El Zaman definitely won the 640 class, competing with the 675s as though he were one of them. And that Tundra, second in class, went to... I cannot believe it. Second in class went to Taka Karamatsu. And then it was Briggs, and then Scarborough, Liza, Jeremiah, Nituri. surprised Liza decided to run this. I mean, I know that she definitely loves the more, you know, down and dirty style of racing. It's very evident. But I didn't think literally dirty. You know, I was just thinking like aggressive. Go for, you know, if gap car, if not bad driver. But I mean, I guess Porsches did used to run Safaris, but like still, just seems like an odd concept. The rally Porsche. I mean, I thought the rally chicken and the rally Stally were crazy, but the Porsche is just a whole other level on that one. We are green from the fourth race. The 715 category event takes place at Monza. As this would be an interesting turn one to watch. They're 3 wide for the race lead, and Thrasher is the one that grabs the whole shot. Francesco looking for some redemption after a bit of a failing at Lago Maggiore. Caprisco, the other Italian, or another Italian, I should say, also in the mix. And we're on board with Francisco, Mr. Technicality here with his 155. Now joins us in his Giulia at his real home circuit. I was given a bit of a smooch into one by Hikari. It's certainly not the first time he's gotten into me, and I'm really beginning to sort of have it with him. This is like first time was one thing, but like that was already bad enough, and then he's just done it more. It's just getting on my nerves now. That Cobra has the lethal acceleration, but he doesn't have the handling to take third place away from Francesca. Does not seem like it, but he'll get another chance heading down the front stretch. Eric, being on Scuderia Fidanzi, is kind of an honorary Italian driver, much in the same way as drivers of the Scuderia are in Formula 1. As Ice needs directions. What's going on there? He and Thrasher both missed, and the game just reset Brian right there. The game did not reset Thrasher despite also missing turn 1. Probably a bit of mirror driving in Thrasher's case. I am sure Francisco had to probably stifle some laughter as he got ahead of Brian Ice just there. Him and his daughter, for that matter. Francesca Fidanzi has now, well, briefly caught up to Thrasher as he kind of coasted through the Lesmos section. But the Mach 40's horsepower is just too much for the F-150 to hang with. And so, as such, his lead will probably be pretty secure as we just had a battle between Italians heading towards Ascari. Dom not leaving the most space, Francisco nearly spinning out to compensate. But a much better exit for the Giulia, and that move should be done. The Aventador might have the advantage in a straight line, though. Not enough of one, though. Into P5 for the hometown man. As we head up to end lap 2 here. We've also made races slightly longer. That was much more apparent now that we've had many 5-lap races since returning. Oh, brother. Eric make a bit of a mistake and get into the back of his team's original enemy. A nice brake test. I don't even feel like that's really in character for him. Bert is battling Thomas and nearly finds himself in the sand in the process. Thomas bounced off that inside curb and nearly sent Bert flying off the circuit. And here comes Francisco to take advantage of that development. As Bert Wheeler is defending to the inside of Ascari, does Francisco really try the outside here? He does, and he will succeed. That's not an easy move to make by any means. You know, a bit of oversteer on exit though. The car is showing a little bit of disagreement, but it still complied nonetheless. A bit of late braking. Old racing buddy of Francisco here and Thomas. Lord knows this isn't the first time they've gone door to door here at Monza, and it probably won't be the last, based on, you know, recent history. Francisco's next target will be his own daughter for Q2. But unless he navigates her, oh, Thomas and Bert too wide again, nearly once more, forcing the Camaro off the circuit. And then the Cobra is able to use its lethal acceleration, as I apparently subconsciously coined that term earlier, to defend from the Z01. Bert's going to try one more time into the second chicane, and he will squeeze on through, finally. A little over, like, about a lap and a half to go here from Monza, and Francesca defending from her dad. It's a little bit of an in-joke, you know. Team race clean doesn't mean they gotta let each other go, you know. No team orders at Scuderia Ferranti. Francesca thought she could stay ahead, and she was gonna darn well try, but her father Francisco will pass through, and now has a lap and change to try and catch Thrasher and keep him away from his second victory oblique. Well, Thomas has made pretty quick progress heading just through Ascari and Parabolica. He's going to lose to the Mach 40 on a straightaway, even with slipstream it benefits. Let's stop for T1. The leading car took damage in this race is an 8th. Only 7 cars have made it to this event with no damage. That is obscene. The Thrasher defends into the first Lesmo. Not really the kind of place I'd expect to see defensive driving employed. Francisco, will he try the outside of the second Lesmo? Yes! That is an opportunistic move right there, but if anybody could make it work, it's him. He's gonna have to defend from Thrasher into Ascari though. Mach 40 with more horsepower, but Giulia with better cornering. And subsequently, better braking, apparently, as that is successful defensive maneuvers Polka, the only corner that remains. And he's done it just fine. Francesco Fidanzi will take a popular home victory at the Italian Grand Prix. Thrasher will come second, and it will be a double podium for the Scuderia as Francesca brings it home in P3, just over Thomas. And Ice managed to recover, overtaking Rip Thompson to be the top car of the ones that took damage. So 1/3 of the field managed to make it through this race with nothing on their pocketbook. Kaiser with just no luck this week. The whole Porsche group with just no luck this week, actually. As not only has Kaiser 2 races she's attended, but Liza had her own mistake at Laguna Seca and a pitiful result to show for it from the dirt race earlier, coming only 3rd from last. So, and I had a bit of a word with Hikari post-race. He's done getting sympathy from me. If he does that shit again, he's gonna be looking for a new Nissan. And we are green from the roulette round, which will bring us to Daytona for the usual 10-minute thing, blah, 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 blah. We've been here before. Like, if you don't know what's going on, then stop living under a rock, my guy. Bit of an odd mix of vehicles, obviously, and that's how it usually works. There were things I noticed. The entire 715 class is just Porsche. You have Liza's 959, Kaiser's Carrera, we have Frankfurt's 997, and we have Stuber's Cayman. There are no other 715 class cars in this race. At the moment, Kalakuta, who was the highest 750 class car on the starting grid, is making good on his escape plan. Eric Wojciechowski is our focus driver for this race, also obviously in the 760 category. And he's going to score 2 overtakes in 1, squeezing just on the outside of Liza Kaiser and Alice Carson at the same time. There's not a single 600 class vehicle, and there aren't very many 640s either. There's Tanner Johnson, Setsuko Kuro, and Natsuki and Emi are the only 640s. The only 760s being Kawakuta, Eric, Paul Valentine, and Siegfried Brandt. We had the 4 715 class Porsches from a minute ago, and the rest is 680. As we're seeing Brandt boxed in amongst most of those 680 class cars, and Frankfurt's 997. And he just messed up the braking point into turn 1, and he has given himself damage. Hasn't damaged anybody else yet, well, that was awfully close to it. If Asher can find a move against Neptune, he'd be able to win his, get his second victory of the day in the form of a class win here, and he's going to go for just that, heading to the second horseshoe. It's going to be tough to out-accelerate an R33, but he will manage that exact thing. Up to the class lead for Thrasher. As Eric Wojciechowski just glides ahead of Kawakuta on the back straightaway. Now he just needs to get settled in and increase that buffer, and then just hang out for the next 7 minutes. It's easy on paper, of course, but you know how it is. As Valentine has encountered a mother and daughter battle for the class lead. Let's see how he navigates this. Is he just going to wait for them to settle it out, or is he going to sneak through on the front stretch? That's what he should do. He's in a car that's a class above them. So if he wants to pass them, I doubt he would have many problems, but he seems content to sit behind Stephanie and see what happens. Well, what happens is slight contact. I think Stephanie's trying to give her mom what she was asking for before. You want me to push for the win? Alright, I'll do that. I know these two made up, but obviously that doesn't mean they have to race super nice. Stephanie pushing that vehicle to stick with the 959. Paul Valentine just content to sit here and wait. Frankfurt not too far in the distance if these two can't make up their minds quick enough. Thrasher, sort of a pretender at the moment, he's running in between the 715s and the 680s. Just in amongst them, really. Brandt got damage, but he didn't pit for it. Probably couldn't in hindsight, because he was probably blocked off. He just overtook Neptune. I don't know how much that damage would really be slowing him down, but the AI is programmed to always pit if they take damage. Paul has finally moved on with his day. He's tired of waiting for the two Porsche drivers to settle their battle, as they go bumper to bumper through the bus stop. Nope, Stephanie missed a shift. That's going to cost her a big chunk of time. Now Brandt pits. Stuber is going to look for an overtake on Neptune. That should be pretty easy. He's in a class above her. And off he goes. Okay, this I wanted to see this pass. Now she just got a better run through the oval. Got alongside her mother. They make door-to-door contact. Kind of turns the favor, does Stephanie. Kind of squeezes her mother out, heading towards T1, and Stephanie makes off with the class lead. Valentine, meanwhile, has caught up to the back of the rest of the 760 class. Or at least to the back of Alex Carson. Despite not having the most horsepower in the category, the Ford GT driven by Valentine puts up some of the best power and top speed figures in the whole series, rivaling even the likes of the engine swap machinery and even cars like Rise's Veyron. A 5-speed transmission, 223 before braking for the bus stop. That's certainly a top speed that these two wouldn't get anywhere near heading to the bus stop. Maybe Eric gets close to it on the front stretch. Actually, they're both getting close to it on the front stretch, but not going on the back stretch. Meanwhile, Paul's doing 239 on the front stretch. Stephanie has made off like a band-aid with that position. Thrasher still leads his category, still above a 715 car. Because looking at the timer, we should be looking at about a lap and a half to go for the 2 leaders. Kawakuta is getting a little bit closer to Eric. The 138 and 39 run by the lead 2, absolutely nothing in comparison to what Valentine's putting down though. A 33.3 with no slipstream or anything to speak of. Now he's gonna have slipstream, and this Ford GT is about to take off like a rocket ship. I'm beginning to wonder if this thing is even under regulation, or if he didn't change his car from 760. That's a 6-speed, by the way. There's more to it than that. He just pushes past Kawakuta, and that's a bad time for that mistake from Eric. It's just got a bit more interesting now, because that Ford GT is absolutely rapid at the moment. Eric's gonna have to drive, well, to the best of his abilities to keep that Ford GT at bay. The F12 is putting up some resistance, but crucially, Kawakuta will sneak back through ahead of the GT. And that's bought Eric some time, to say the least. Paul getting physical with the GTR to retake P2. And we're gonna head up to the bus stop with everything to play for still. Behold the top speedinator. The lap traffic might be in the way. We'll see if they can just all hang onto their line here. They might be fine. Oh, Paul chose the wrong lane. And so, with a little bit of assistance from lapped cars, Eric Wojcicki will take the second victory of the week for Scuderia Finanzi. Paul Valentine could taste the victory, but he'll come away with just second place. Kawakuta ends up on the overall podium with him. And Kaiser just beat Alice Carson to the line at the last second. Stephanie in the 715 class car just robbed Alice of 4th overall there. And the game is not unloading the replay. Alright, cool. Well, that's going to do it for episode 82 here in the Challenge Series, while we stare into the black void that is Polyphony Digital's Quality Assurance Department. I'm pretending to have a screensaver here that doesn't really work how screensavers work, because I'm controlling it with an analog stick. But, yeah, no, that's not how... This is looking more like Pong. This is difficult. Anyway, end of the episode. Yeah.